Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. It's Wednesday, November 12th, 2025, and I'm going to be calling our meeting to order at 2:05 p.m. We're going to start with a moment of silent reflection. Thank you. Moving on to our land acknowledgement, the Municipality of Port Hope exists on the lands of the Mississauga Anishinaabe traditional territory covered by the Williams Treaties. We honor and recognize First Peoples as rights holders and stewards of the lands and waters in which we have the privilege to live, work, and play, including the Ganaraska Forest and River. We pay respect to elders, past, present, and emerging. We commit to actions towards truth and reconciliation by recognizing the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, strengthening ties with First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples, especially those who make their home in Port Hope, and learning from Indigenous ways of knowing and being. We do so by recognizing the past and working towards a shared future. Moving on to item number 2, do any council members have any pecuniary interest to disclose prior to us commencing the meeting? None have been received prior, so we can move on. Item number 3, 3.1, presentation by Ravi Prashner, Lunsden Group and Matt Ryan, FAD Architects regarding Hope 138, Reimagining Urban Potential. So I'll ask the presenters to approach the podium and to begin their presentations, and welcome to Port Hope.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to present our vision for the MTO lands here in beautiful Port Hope on the shores of Lake Ontario. I'm Matt Ryan of FAD Architects, located in beautiful Parry Sound on the shores of Georgian Bay. I'm here with Ravi Prashner of the Lunsden Group, who is the development team behind the proposal we're calling Hope 138. It's not advancing. There we go. Thank you. The site located at 138 Hope Street consists of almost 15 acres of land and is an ideal location for a mixed-use redevelopment. With our proposal, we are planning to create a complete community, which will include a residential component, a commercial and hospitality component, as well as community amenities. We're proposing over 250 residential units, offering a mixture of housing types suitable for all demographics, from singles to families to seniors. Along with providing people a place to live, we believe it is very important to also provide space for people to work. So our proposal includes plans for a 100-room hotel, conference and banquet space, office space, ground floor commercial, an AI innovation hub and data center, as well as we're exploring a vertical farming initiative. To enhance the community, there will be a new public park and parkette, along with playground facilities for children. As well, we plan to create a public access to the conservation area along the river. The images shown here are early conceptual images showing the scale and size of buildings proposed that will be developed and designed to respect Port Hope's architectural legacy using materials and details that match the character of downtown Port Hope. With our proposal, we see the potential for not only creating housing, but job creation, tax revenue, and business growth that will benefit the whole community. By creating a higher density community, we view this as creating a new neighborhood. That is less dependent on the car, more pedestrian friendly, that supports a healthy, active lifestyle, a place that people would be happy to call home. We believe in building responsibly for the future, making use of energy-efficient building systems, green roof opportunities on commercial buildings, utilizing native plants for landscaping in parks and common areas. We feel this project embraces smart growth principles, intensification within existing urban boundaries, mixed use development, reducing vehicle dependency, a range of housing types and affordability, and walkable neighborhood design. The project will be undertaken in phases. Phase 1 will be the site preparation and infrastructure phase, and the beginning of construction on Lot 1, apartment building with 42 units. Phase 2 would see the construction of the hotel, commercial building development, and construction of the park and playground facilities. Phase 3 extends the mixed-use building with conference center, the remaining residential buildings, and townhouse development. Final phase would see the final residential lots completed, along with the completion of the landscaping and public spaces. And I'm going to turn it over to Ravi to talk about the next slide here.
Something unique that we're trying to integrate into this development is positioning Port Hope as an incubator / technology innovation leader. To do any type of innovation, you need space, and this site can accommodate these incubator hubs that we plan to create to bring in talent, number one, and to be ready for the future on self-resiliency. One of the first things we would bring in as part of this would be an AI innovation hub, where we would set up AI R&D and bring it to the mainstream, and how it can help for the next 10, 20 years to bring it into common practices, right? The AI data center as well, with abundant power, and Port Hope being the power central of nuclear power. We would want to harness and how to build AI-specific data centers. Third item we would look at is to bring in vertical farming, to have food security. Again, it ties in with the AI Innovation Hub on how we can now grow our fruits, vegetables in a warehouse-type environment. Putting all these three together, it's going to attract very good, talented labor, plus train people for high-tech jobs going forward. And it's going to have a big economic impact, as we'll be able to showcase to other municipalities on what we can actually do by bringing housing with other initiatives all together into one site.
So we really view this as working together for Port Hope's future. Our commitment is to maintain ongoing community consultation, prioritize local contractors and suppliers, respect and enhance the heritage character, as I mentioned, to really enhance and have this development fit into the character of Port Hope, and create quality public spaces for all residents, again, to create a place that people will be very happy to call home. So our final statement is building communities that honor the past but embrace the future, which is our vision for this project. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I'm wondering, before we go into a question and answer with council, if you might just be able to provide us a little bit of information about your organization and the kind of work that you've done in other communities, and what brought you to Port Hope, and, you've talked a little bit about what you'd like to contribute, but just so that everybody has a little bit of background on the kind of projects you've done and the kind of commitment that you have to both our natural and built heritage and some of the ways in which your vision exemplifies those kinds of commitments.
Sure. Lionson Group is a family-owned business. We've been in the technology space for the last 20 years, pioneering voice over internet and fiber internet. About 5 years ago, we kind of shot from the technology side into development, real estate development, residential and commercial. And we went outside the big metropolitan area, so outside of Toronto. So we started our venture about in the Muskoka region, building purpose-built rentals. Right now, over the last 4 years, we've built about 400 purpose-built rentals. So we're not going into communities and just building condos and selling them. So we're actually in there for the long term, right? Building purpose-built rentals takes a long-term commitment. It takes about 10 years to kind of break even with these, but it helps the community. It helps, from an economic standpoint of view, the rental stream is steady, and there's a big need. And so we started off with one unit in Huntsville, slowly grew Perry Sound, Bracebridge, and Gravenhurst. And that's how we met with Matt, who's helped us architect over half of our projects in the region. At the same time, we have started a couple of hotels in the hospitality region as well, one in Perry Sound and one in Vaughan. So that's helped us have the experience to build and deliver purpose-built rentals. The residential component on this project that we're recommending is also, again, all purpose-built rentals too. Not all affordable. They will have affordable components into them, but they will be rentals, so to attract the talent to come in. What attracted us to Port Hope was we were looking for another area to be outside of Toronto, to kind of grow and to find a piece of land that was large enough for us to go create something. And this was a perfect opportunity when MTA was trying to sell, for us to find a larger enough of a parcel that would allow us to do a multi-year development into there. We've also purchased existing historical buildings. We purchased in Gravenhurst, the oldest building in Gravenhurst, it was called the Albion Hotel. And we really transformed that into residential apartments. It was neglected by its current owners. Bricks were falling apart. So we basically restored that over the last 2 years, returned it into purpose-built rentals with commercial on the ground floor. And now it is one of the prime buildings. It's one of the oldest ones in the whole Muskoka region. So we venture off onto different projects like that. We do them small scale. We're not building thousands of apartments. We go small, build about 100 to 120 per year, something that we can build, control, and deliver. And that's our background.
Is there anything else that you wanted to add to it?
Sure, I would just talk a little bit about the project that we're working on with Ravi and Perry Sound, which is similar in scale to this project. Property in Perry Sound on the waterfront that sat vacant for maybe 30 to 40 years. 7-acre parcel, kind of a key component to the waterfront that was contaminated property. Originally was the Shell oil lands where they stored oil over the years. So Ravi had come into town. The property had been cleaned up to a certain extent over time, but Ravi came into town, saw the vision potential for that site, and we started working with him. He completed the cleanup of the property, and we helped to plan a very similar scale project to this. So right now there's a Marriott hotel that's under construction. We have 4 phases planned there for similar scale development with approximately 200 apartment units there as well. And one of the key components of that, there's a fitness trail in Perry Sound, which is loved by the entire community. Like, it's absolutely cherished. And the fitness trail actually bypassed this property, stayed at the top of it along the road. And what we proposed to Ravi at that time was that it was vital to actually bring the fitness trail down to the waterfront. So rather than bypassing it when it reached this property, we could reintroduce it to the waterfront to bring the public into the development so that it's not exclusive use for the condo developer, for the residents there. And as part of that shoreline development, we really looked at maintaining sort of a small town scale and character that fit with the overall community. We weren't looking at putting big buildings on the waterfront. The hotel is set back from the water. The taller buildings are set back from the water. And there's a much more pedestrian scale that we've introduced along the waterfront. So we've received a tremendous support from the community at large that, they really see that development as benefiting them as well. So.
Thank you. And I know that at this stage, we're really at the conceptual, very high level, and that there are many steps in the process that still need to be undertaken. So just as we go around the Q&A, just to remind everybody that this is just a really high level introduction and presentation. But with that in mind, I'll turn it over to my colleagues for any questions or comments. Councillor Darrell.
As the mayor stated, this is still early days on this one, but in your previous builds, what percentage is usually allotted for affordable housing? If you have an estimate.
Yeah, about 10 to 15%.
Okay.
10 to 15.
Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation and for the context of the projects that you worked on. I see this particular property as being very special with the natural and built heritage on that property and the connection to the Ganaraska River and so on. So could you speak in a little more detail about the current existing buildings on that property and what you see in them now and future vision that you see on in those buildings?
Sure. The existing building, the old railway station where the MTO is at, so we have signed a long-term lease with the MTO, so they will stay there for the next 10 years. So that will remain the way it is and continue to be used as office. Now, in the future as well, even after MTO leaves, we want to preserve that rail station the way it is, right? Keep it up to date, so it's an iconic piece over there. There's one building that we will be keeping. It's a large warehouse that's at the back. Due to its footprint, it can be transformed to, and we're working on the preliminary drawings with Matt, on how to turn that into a multi-use building with a residential component, but not changing the footprint. We don't want to come disturb the natural features by the slope. This building's been there for about 40 years. The foundation and the bones are good on it. So we're going to repurpose it by, on one side, putting an event space center, so like an event venue that will overlook the river, plus to create a nice larger venue space in Port Hope with office space. And then one side of it would be residential rentals that we could immediately get going because the foundation and the structure is over there. And our goal is in early January to present renders of what our vision of this building would look like, right? We would name it Ganaraska Place, which would have the banquet facility, and even the banquet facility we're going to make, it's going to be more traditional, not modern, keeping the heritage of the Victorian style inside, right? With larger chandeliers, really make it a place that people want to come do events at.
Okay, moving right around the table, Councillor Clare.
Thank you. I have two questions,
Sure,
if
no.
I may. The first, I am curious to hear more about the energy efficient standards that you'd be looking at and those sustainability pieces. And then my second question is, based on your comments around the integration of the project in Parry Sound with the existing waterfront and sort of that thought of bringing community into the development, I'm wondering, it looked very much like there might be some of that thinking in one of the images, maybe connecting down to our existing waterfront trail, and is that something that you're considering?
Yeah, absolutely. That was one of the things we talked about early on, was that we should really open this up so that public can have access to the conservation area down to the waterfront trail. So that's a big part of the vision. Also, I think that not only is it good for the public at large, but it'd be great for the people that are the residents in that community. And again, yeah, I think we're really trying to promote a healthy, active lifestyle. So we really want to make use of those amenities that are already around us and enhance them.
And like we have talked to Ganaraska Conservation Authority, so they will support building a boardwalk going from the top because it is very steep and slopely. But we will build a slope ramped, and it's in one of the renders that you saw, that will allow people in the summertime to kind of actually go through down to kind of go to the river and see it flow and have a seating area at the bottom. And the good thing is we do have the support from the Ganaraska Conservation because they want to create that. Right now, people try to just walk down the slopes. It's not safe. They damage trees, and this way we will, with them, create a safe path, lighted path going down. And sustainability, the buildings.
Oh, yes. Sorry, two-part question. Yeah. Certainly right now we have to, the Ontario Building Code sets out standards for energy efficiency. But our desire, especially that they're going to be rental units, is to exceed the standards that the Ontario Building Code sets out for energy efficiency, so that they're extremely sustainable in terms of insulation values, reduce energy consumption, and just help benefit the investment that Mr. Prashner is going to be making in the community.
So like one thing unique that we've done in one of the projects is we harvest the rainwater because we're big on planting, and when you see the renders, like trees and plants, all that is watered with the harvest rainwater that we have, right? So underground tanks, we collect them off all the buildings, put them in, and then we have now sprinklers everywhere. We can be sprinkling there every day. It's not affecting anyone, but it keeps our communities nice and green when there's not there, right? So we put in what we can to kind of really help. Because at the long term, we are managing this. It's not that we're selling it. So it's in our best interest to keep it, to attract the and be popular for the tenants to come in, right? So we want to create, and even though it's not affordable, all of it with 10 to 15%, it's everything else. It's not luxury like $5,000-6,000 a month. Again, one bedroom's average, the rental's about the same, probably about $1,700 to $1,900, and then 2 bedrooms maybe $2,200, 3 bedrooms about $2,400. So that's the market price that we've done our research. It's the same in Muskoka and over here that can kind of be entertained.
Councillor Todd.
Thank you. I really enjoyed the presentation, and it's an exciting project. That land, I think, is a great place for this kind of scale. I've got 3 areas that I just want you to maybe give a bit more information. I don't have specific questions about it, but if you could maybe give us a bit more details, I'll go through them one at a time, if that's okay. Yeah. Can you tell us a bit more about the vertical farming? Just give us an idea of, what that is and what your vision would be for that.
Sure. That's a new initiative that we've been working on for the last 6 to 8 months, along as an offshoot of our AI technology company that we have. The idea is bringing in AI with robotics. Vertical farming is going to be the next big revolutionary thing that's going to come up, especially in areas like Canada, where your grow season is only 4 months. It's using basically warehouse space and going up and with LED lights controlling. And now what's happening now is it's been, vertical farming has been limited to leafy greens for the longest time. Now there's been light technology and watering technology that can now go into small fruits, so strawberries, berries, and that's going to be the revolutionary change, right? Allowing you to do crops every 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks versus waiting that, right? And all natural, without any artificial chemicals and all that, right? So it's a presentation that we would come, if council's interested, in the Q1, come give it to you on exactly on how it's going to be working. That allows you to support produce, fruits, veg for the local community. So our idea is to have pockets like Port Hope would have that, where like the local independent would get its fruits and vegetables from over here, right? Costing wise, it's going to be the same. There's no transportation cost that they have to truck in. Wastage is less. And that's a model that we want to try with Port Hope, and then we're trying that with Gravenhurst as well. Smaller outreaches where you can build larger industrial buildings because you have the land around, right? To kind of do this in Toronto, it's cost prohibitive because of the pricing of the industrial lands.
That's exciting. Thanks. the next one I was looking for a bit more information on is the data center. Have you folks built a data center before? Or,
Yes.
Yeah. Can you tell us a bit more about that then?
We built data centers, we started about 15 years ago for the telephony and internet side when high-speed internet had started. So we were Bell Canada's largest private partners. It was more in Toronto. The problem is the existing data centers are not built for AI. So now there's a big issue happening right now with the existing data center space that's been out there for the last 20 years cannot house AI-ready servers. Because the density is so much, you need proper cooling and the layouts need to be changed. So it's a inflection point now where new data center space is needed for people to come set up something fresh. And based on our R&D, what we're doing on our AI startup, we understand on what's needed to kind of scale. Again, having regional AI data centers is the way to go to protect data sovereignty. AI data centers, it requires very low latency, so you need regional hubs, right? And our idea would be to kind of have hubs outside the main Toronto, like centers, Toronto, Ottawa, but going to the rural areas.
And when you've done data centers in the past, what do you do about water? Are you using it through the town water, or are you?
Depends on what it is, sorry. If we're using the watering for the chilling system, right? Depends on what we use for cooling.
Okay. And the last part I had was around parking. So I think partway in the presentation you were talking about you want to make this walkable and less reliant on cars. When I saw the first picture of it, it's like, wow, there's a lot of parking. And is that something you're going to be looking at down the road? Recognizing it's conceptual, or is there a possibility of reducing that, or? What's your thought?
All our projects we don't go too tight on parking, number one. And this extra parking is more for the event space. If you have an event space coming, there's capacity of 500 people. You're having people coming from Cobourg, Peterborough, even Toronto. You need to have parking for 200-300 cars, okay? If you want to make a nice, whether if it's a political fundraiser happening, a town event happening, something happening. So it needs to be parking sufficient. What we wanted to showcase, we have enough space. If we lessen the parking, we'll have more green space. We're not going there and kind of over-indexing the development, and then people are struggling to find parking, right? And that's very key. We've seen projects that have failed where you have the beautiful venue, but you can't park 50 cars, okay? And then where are they going to park? Ontario Street there on the street, and then all the neighborhoods complaining because people are parking in the neighborhood on the streets every evening, right? So we want to be kind of self-sufficient where we are not disturbing the outside. And that was a reason. Just to showcase, yeah, we have enough to accommodate all this with 500 spots.
Perfect. Thank you.
Just on the parking, we are 0.75 in the downtown urban area. We fought hard for that, just in terms of the active transportation, but noted your concern about venues and ensuring that there's enough parking.
Yeah, I was going to say, because that is generally the number one complaint after development's done from the neighbors when people are not parking or they aren't able to provide enough spaces on the development, so they're parking on side streets. But duly noted, it's 0.75, so that's great. So if we can cut down, we will look at doing that. But
Councillor Less.
Thanks for the presentation. Very good. Are you private or publicly funded?
Private.
Have you any thoughts of going public?
No, not at the moment.
And how do you get your funding?
Through private.
Private investors? Yeah. Okay, that's good. There's a number of low-lying areas within the property you've bought, right. And I only noticed one building that was over four stories. Right. Could that conceptually change? Because if you're building in a hollow, you can go higher.
Yeah, so actually I think that the existing big warehouse building is in the lowest area on the site, and that's the one we're proposing to be the tallest. So I think the elevation drop from Hope Street down to where that building is, the entrance there is about 6 meters below what Hope Street is. So we designated that as potentially being the tallest building because from Hope Street it will only appear to be 4 stories, even though it may be 5 or 6. So.
Okay. And the last thing, the most important thing is Gravenhurst. The Albion and the Gilmore were the only 2 hotels in town from the 50s on. And you either went to the Gilmore or the Albion, and you never crossed lines. It was like the Hatfields and the McCoys. It really was. So congratulations on that. We had a look at personally doing something with the Albion years ago.
Oh, did you? Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah,
We don't
really
have the deep
restored.
pockets you obviously have.
No, but we really restored. That's a really fun project. So me and Matt, we try to do one every 2 years, get something, restore it, right? Even from the light fixtures to the doors, we really restored it, right? We had one person go to local antique markets. We found old stuff that would belong to that building, put it back on, and really created something nice. At wintertime, we decorate it. It's one of the best decorated buildings. We don't have to do that. It costs us about $15,000, but we decorate it. People come driving by and they see it like it's like magical to them, right? So,
Good on you. Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Okay, Councillor Adam.
Thank you, and thank you for the presentation, wonderful presentation. I'm just curious on timelines. So I know that you had said something about January for something, but overall timelines, if everything went smoothly all the way through, what are your thoughts on all the different phases, phase 1 through 4?
Our goal is to, if things go out as well, like next fall, start the first building, so in the next 12 months. We want it to be about a 4 to 5 year project. We don't want it to kind of linger on, so the community can quickly start reaping its benefits, number one. Number two, for the vertical farming and the AI side, the time is now, so we have to kind of get going, get the wheels in motion. You don't want to miss the boat on that, and then there's a need, right? So I think we give a rough timeline in the presentation you can refer to, but our goal would be to start something in the next 18 months, 12 to 18 months. We have started the remediation. Right now on the back building where it is, and the remediation is very controlled. It was a repair center for MTO, so we know exactly where it is. It's just from the oil changes that we're doing that the small area has been contaminated, right? So we've delineated, have the environmental consultants, and it should be all cleaned up by April. And then we'll go for the RSCs, and then we can go for site plan and then permits.
Councillor Less.
This is directed to our planning department. At what stage are we in the planning stage and the implementation stage? And are there any impediments that you see?
Thank you for the question. We are in the pre-consultation phase right now with the applicants. They have come to our development review team, and initial comments are being compiled to circulate back. We'll continue to move forward with formal applications and regular public notices as prescribed by the Planning Act. Until there's formal application, we try to keep the information that is submitted to us confidential, just for protection of the applicants. But since they're here tonight, I'm sure they're happy with me sharing that they have been here for pre-consultation and will continue to work with the planning department.
And I just have a final question for you. I noticed that throughout the presentation, you talked about the prioritization you have to make linkages to the local high school and to local colleges and even universities. I'm wondering if you could just elaborate on that just a bit.
Sure. We're in the process, what we want to do, once we've solidified what we want to kind of build and have the site plan done, work with the local colleges and schools to create kind of this co-op type learning experience, right? So work with the local community college to have a course that everyone envies, right? So people will be applying to it. If they apply here, they can do a co-op on AI modeling, okay? Something real life. So basically that's like how you have the trades colleges in Toronto, people go learn electricians, apprentices. We want to create now the next generation. Okay, how to become a vertical farmer? Okay, someone who's doing farming from the region, come do a 12-month course at Loyalist College. Okay, they get the revenue coming in, people are coming in, but they'll have a 2-month program that will teach them the ins and outs of vertical farming, okay? So the next generation can stay into the farming, right? So it's very important we integrate into the education system, and with the help of council over here, we would kind of set up meetings with Loyalist College, even the high school, try to tell people, okay, you have a different grade 12 graduates, okay, you can go to Toronto and go do a degree, but if you stay in Loyalist, stay here, look, you're going to learn AI at an advanced pace, right? Something that we can teach you in 2 years, it'll take you 6 years to learn outside, right? So it's going to kind of create the profile. And every college is looking for that right now. And if we are successful in getting this all planned out, Loyalist will be probably one of the first ones that would have like a hands-on AI course.
Thank you for that. And just from my chair, I want to say how much we, at least conceptually, appreciate. I think I can speak for council on this. I don't think too many folks would disagree about the fact that you're retaining the heritage building on site and that you're taking inspiration from that for the design of the entire campus that you're, again, high level creating. It's wonderful to see that you've got that deep appreciation for that aspect of Port Hope.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other final questions or comments from around the table? Well, thank you. We received this with great interest and great excitement, and I'm pleased that council has had an opportunity to at least see the beginnings of the vision. And I know it's the beginning process. There's much more to still happen, but looking forward to providing you with whatever support we can. And I know our staff will work with you, and hopefully we'll have smooth sailing moving forward to some of your
They've been
stated
really
goals.
helpful. So far, very helpful. The whole planning team and everyone that's been involved. So
I have
we're
no
going-
doubt.
Yeah.
I have no doubt. Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
So the recommended motion is, of course, to receive this for information. So can I get a mover and seconder? Moved by Councillor Adams, seconded by Councillor Darrell. Any further discussion? All in favor? And that is passed unanimously. So now we're moving on to item number 4, closed session. It's now time for the closed portion of our meeting. Today we'll be proceeding in a closed session in accordance with the Municipal Act to address an item pertaining to litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, Section 239(2)E, and advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, Section 239(2)F, OLT 23-000-729, 65 Ward Street, 36 to 38 Hope Street South, and 20 Hope Street. The purpose of today's meeting, as listed on the agenda and as per the public notice on the municipal website, is for council to receive a confidential update from legal counsel. So can I get a mover and seconder to move into closed? Moved by Councillor Less, seconded by Councillor Todd. All in favor? That is passed unanimously. And just to note that after we come out of closed session, I will provide a rise and report publicly. So we will now recess for a couple of minutes to allow us to move into closed. Thank you. Okay, thank you, everyone. We're out of closed session, so moving on to point number 5, business arising from closed session. Earlier today, Council passed a motion to proceed into a closed session to consider business as permitted under the Municipal Act and is listed on today's meeting agenda. The motion was passed in a public session and in accordance with our closed meeting policy. In the continuing interest of transparency, I can report at this open meeting the outcomes from today's closed session. Council approved the minutes from the in-camera meeting of October 21st. That is the last time that Council met in closed session. Council received a confidential update from our legal counsel and staff regarding matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local boards. Council received this information and provided direction to staff. Can I please have a mover and seconder for the following motion? The council received the confidential update from legal counsel and staff as information, and the council confirmed the confidential direction provided to staff and legal counsel. Can I get a mover and seconder? Moved by Councillor Darrell, seconded by Councillor Adam. Any further discussion? All in favor? And that is passed unanimously. Moving on to the confirmatory bylaw. 52-2025, confirm the proceedings of the special council meeting of November 12th, 2025. Can I get a mover and seconder for that? Moved by Councillor Clare, seconded by the Deputy Mayor. All in favor? And that is passed unanimously. I am now in a position to adjourn our meeting at 3:34 p.m. Thank you.